Welcome back to the Battle Camp. Please can you hit the subscribe button? I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of March and I need your help to do so. So hit the subscribe button and also the like button if you enjoy my content. So I watched an ESPN Sports Center interview with Bob Arum. Max Kellerman sat down with Bob Arum via satellite link. And I'm so glad Stephen A. Smith went knocking about because that guy, fuck me. I mean, I don't know much about SportsCenter and ESPN and how their shows are, but when he talks about boxing, I cringe. Anyway, so during this interview, Bob Arum said basically that he's going to be sending out an offer today to Deontay Wilder and Shelley Finkel for a fight with Tyson Fury. And he said it will be a tremendous offer. He also spoke about how the three main heavyweights being on different platforms, or well, actually two of them are on different platforms, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, whereas according to Deontay Wilder, he's a free agent in terms of affiliations with a broadcaster, so he can fight on any platform. But anyway, Bob Arum basically said that there's no reason why these fights shouldn't happen, and TV stations shouldn't dictate whether or not these fights happen, and it would be a shame on the promoters if they can't manage to work out a deal to get these fights to happen and deprive the fans of the fights that we want to see. Which sounds good. In practicality and actuality, we don't know how accurate this statement is from his point of view, from the point of view of the other promoters in question, Eddie Hearn and Al Heyman, Shelley Finkel, whoever else is part of Deontay Wilder's team, because he seems to have a massive team for some reason. But anyway, so that was the bit of news today, that an offer's going out. And I've seen kind of different articles and kind of talking about it's going to be a huge offer, people kind of throwing numbers around, but Bob Arum didn't mention any numbers, and I can't see kind of on Twitter, credible kind of journalists and people like that, or just generally on kind of online, I can't see anyone credible reporting any numbers. So I'm not going to say what the offer might be because I don't trust the numbers that I've seen generally on YouTube and on Twitter and just generally online. But according to Bob Arum, it's going to be a big offer. What does this mean though? What does this offer mean? I think a lot of people are fixated on this offer. Well, fixated might be the wrong word. They're assuming that this offer is for the next fight, for Wilder's next fight and Tyson Fury's next fight. But just earlier this week, Bob Arum was saying how he'd prefer for both Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder to fight other fights against other opponents and then perhaps face each other later on in the year in September or something like that. So is this an offer that he's sending out to Wilder to say, come and fight on ESPN? Here's a 2-fight deal. You can have a fight against someone else and then Tyson Fury later on in the end. This is how much we're going to pay you. Another thing that Bob Arum said was the 60-40 purse split that the WBC have mandated. He said that's just a guideline and they don't have to listen to that purse split. In fact, earlier on this week I heard an interview with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn talked about the purse split that was mandated for the Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders fight was 70-30 in Andrade's favour, and the offer that went out to Billy Joe Saunders was closer to 50-50, or it was 50-50. So you don't have to adhere to these purse splits. That's just a guideline, and I suppose why that guideline's there is if the fight that the governing body have mandated is between two fighters, and they're saying, all right, this is how much they should earn as a guideline, and it helps with the negotiations between the two different parties, if that makes sense. But there's nothing to say that Deontay Wilder shouldn't accept a 50-50 split, or indeed there's nothing to say that he should perhaps demand more, if that makes sense. The only problem is if he was to demand more, and then the other party, in this case uh, Tyson Fury's team, go to the WBC and say, look, you said it should be a 60-40 split. He's not taking anything less than 70-30. Then I'd assume it would go to purse bids via the WBC, and that 60-40 split would end up happening anyway, if that makes sense. But going back to Deontay Wilder, he's in a bit of a, I mean, I wouldn't say predicament, because nothing's really changed with Tyson Fury signing to ESPN. The only thing that's changed is it just looks more likely that Tyson Fury won't be fighting Wilder next. And also, in terms of the negotiations between the two of them, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury's just got more leverage now, basically. Previously, the fight had to be in America, and the negotiations were going on, and all the power was in the hands of Deontay Wilder, because he's the one that had to deal with the TV network, and so the negotiations were kind of on the terms of Deontay Wilder. So the only real thing that Tyson Fury could negotiate was the purse that he earned. Everything else, in terms of location, time frames, date, the TV platform, etc. All of that stuff was on Deontay Wilder's side, because you have to kind of, when you're trying to agree a fight, you have to agree a date with your TV platform, your broadcaster, and obviously that date, then you need to go and find a venue on that date, etc. So all of the kind of variables were in the favor of Wilder. Now, obviously, Tyson Fury's kind of got a big power player behind him in ESPN, and he's got a wily old fox in Bob Arum in his corner. It's a bit more even. So it'd be interesting to see what this offer is. Again, I mentioned this earlier. I'm not 100% certain this offer is for them to fight next, just because of what Bob Arum said previously. And given the relationship between Bob Arum, Top Rank Promotions, and Al Heyman and the PBC, I reckon the offer that's gone out to Wilder is more than likely a multi-fight deal to fight on ESPN, rather than a one-off offer here, fight Tyson Fury next. I'd be surprised if the offer is basically to say fight Tyson Fury next. I'd be very, very surprised if the contract isn't for Deontay Wilder to fight on ESPN for more than one fight. And that's the way I see it. Um, and then it's down to Deontay Wilder. What does he want to do? Because I spoke about this earlier on in the week, about how he said he's a free agent and he likes being a free agent, but he doesn't exploit the positives of being a free agent, or the positive aspects of being a free agent, by moving around and fighting on different platforms and getting the most money for himself. He's only ever fought on Showtime, and on the platforms, the platforms that PBC put their shows on. He's only ever fought on those platforms. He's never actually taken advantage of being a free agent, and basically had an opponent arranged and a venue, and shopped that fight around to different broadcasters to say, do you wanna put this on? How much are you willing to pay? That's the true essence of being a free agent, right? We saw, and I mentioned this earlier this week, we saw Dillian Whyte do this. With his fight with Chisora, even though Matchroom, Sky Sports, DAZN have this kind of link up, between the UK and the States, he wasn't happy with the money that DAZN were offering, and he shopped his deal to Showtime, and he got a better deal, and so that fight was on Showtime. That's what you're meant to do as a free agent, in my opinion. So yeah, I think people are going overboard at the moment by reporting about this offer that's gone out by Bob Arum. No one really knows the details of it just yet. We don't know if it's going to be an offer for a one-off offer for the next fight, for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury to fight each other next. We don't know whether it's a multi-fight offer to Deontay Wilder, and one of those fights is to fight Tyson Fury. So I think people are jumping the gun a little bit by kind of getting excited about what Bob Arum said earlier on today. He's a fucking promoter at the end of the day. Oh, shit, I try not to swear. I'm trying not to swear so much, but it just comes out. Anyway, that's my take on that. And the other thing that I wanted to discuss is I've been noticing on YouTube a lot of these channels, the American-based channels, are talking about um, what Deontay Wilder said on the Boxing Voice and how he mentioned he's a free agent and he can fight on any platform. And then when the Miller and AJ press conference happened, Eddie Hearn spoke to a lot of the kind of the YouTube outlets at the press conference, and Ness basically said, "Why don't you offer Deontay Wilder a similar sort of deal to what DAZN um, are offering Triple G?" And the rumor is that Triple G is being offered a 2 or 3 fight deal, depending on what source you believe and you believe, but it's basically a deal to fight either a fight against someone and then Andrade, or a fight against Andrade and then potentially later on Canelo. So whichever one you want to believe, but it's basically worth tens of millions of dollars for a 2 or 3 fight deal. So I suppose what Ness was saying is, why don't you offer Deontay Wilder that deal so he could fight someone and then fight Joshua later on in the year and offer him, 40-50 million dollars or whatever. Um, and then Eddie Hearn said, yeah, he'd be really interested in making an offer for Wilder. But I think that wasn't. I'm not saying Eddie Hearn isn't interested in having Wilder fight on DAZN. Of course he is. He's a heavyweight champion of the world, and he's a big name in boxing. But I think also you have to remember, one of the things that Eddie Hearn repeated over and over and over again was when people asked him about the ESPN deal that Tyson Fury signed earlier this week. Eddie Hearn was very quick to deflect the hit, or to focus his answer on Showtime, and basically saying how, oh yeah, that's really good. That's a really good deal for Tyson Fury. And since then, Deontay Wilder's come out and said he's a free agent and he's free to fight on any platform. So if I was Stephen Espinoza, I'd be waking up in cold sweats. So he was very quick to deflect the attention of Tyson Fury's announcement, and the fact that announcement of Tyson Fury um, basically made Deontay Wilder come out and say he's a free agent. And Eddie Hearn was very clever to kind of package both of those things together to have a pop at Showtime. And that's fair enough, because Stephen Espinoza has been quite vocal about DAZN and about how it's not very, like, the quality of boxing isn't very good on that platform, and he kind of bigs up Showtime, and obviously he should, because people on DAZN, Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya, have been very vocal about how pay-per-view's dead and Showtime's going to be finished soon, etc., etc., etc. So you can understand why these guys are saying the things that they're saying. But I think a lot of people have taken what Eddie Hearn's, they've kind of wanted to believe, they believed what they wanted to out of what Eddie Hearn said. And for me, what Eddie Hearn's been saying isn't just about Deontay Wilder. He's using it as an opportunity to have a go at Showtime. And people I've seen kind of saying, oh, Eddie Hearn to make massive offer to Deontay Wilder to fight on DAZN, blah blah blah. Just because, yes, he did say, yeah, I'd be very interested in making an offer to Deontay Wilder. But he also did say to Ness, please, 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 message Deontay Wilder. So and just to say to him, give Eddie Hearn 5 or 10 minutes so I can talk to him and I can let him know what I can do for him. I'll fly anywhere in the States, and all I want is 10 minutes for him to listen to me. Now, if that's Eddie Hearn's mind state, then what chance has he got of signing Deontay Wilder to DAZN for a multi-fight deal if he can't even fucking, oh, I swore again, if he can't even um, open up a line of communication to Deontay Wilder? Like, he's been so, like, vocal in saying how he's been sending these offers to Shelley Finkel and that Deontay Wilder's team, and he hasn't had a response. So basically, they've closed all lines of communications at this moment in time. So from this state to then to then managing to convince Deontay Wilder, Shelley Fink, or Al Heyman, whoever it is, to allow or to not allow isn't the right word. Well, it is for Deontay Wilder because he doesn't seem to be the guy that's in charge of his own career. So to allow Deontay Wilder to then sign for DAZN on a deal with his, on a multi-fight deal, that doesn't seem very logical. I hope I'm making sense. Like it's two from one extreme to another. I mean, a fight with Joshua seems so far away, a one-off fight, and now we're talking about Deontay Wilder signing to DAZN, and we're talking about Deontay Wilder potentially signing to ESPN. I really can't see any of that happening, and I'm quite concerned about the current state of the heavyweight division, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Tyson Fury, Joshua, and Wilder fight each other, or at least one fight between the three of them happen this year, and we're only in February. I wouldn't be surprised. Now that all this has happened, people are going to be doubling down, and in my opinion, they're going to be trying to build their own little empires without having to risk their guy losing. And it's a shame. And I'm not blaming anyone, because obviously if you're Tyson Fury and you've signed to ESPN and you're making millions and millions of dollars, you're more than entitled to do it. Same with AJ. Same with, Deontay Wilder hasn't really got a massive deal. But yeah, if I was Deontay Wilder now, I'd be seriously considering taking one of these big fights, because it feels like he's got the potential of being left out in the cold. You're going to have Tyson Fury fighting for millions of dollars against a top 10 opponent. You're going to have, so when I say millions, I mean tens of millions of dollars on ESPN and BT Sport. And Joshua's in the same predicament. He's doing it now. In fact, he's fighting Big Baby Miller for, depending on who you believe, $20 million, $30 million, plus whatever pay-per-view comes in from the UK. So they're both set. They're both happy. And then you got Deontay Wilder, who, if you look at what he's been earning over his career, if he fights a top 10 opponent, it won't be pay-per-view. And what's he going to make? $2 million, $3 million, $4 million? If he took home between $8 and $12 million against Tyson Fury on a big pay-per-view card, then just on a normal Showtime event, how much is he going to earn? If I was Deontay Wilder, I'd be asking serious questions about the team that manages me, and how I'm going to get to the same level as Tyson Fury and Joshua in the States. Because it's a shame for Deontay Wilder. He's the only American in this equation, and he's earning the least amount of money. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Because Tyson Fury, Joshua, and Wilder, none of them are massive household names in America. You could argue Wilder's probably more famous than Joshua and Fury in the States. I don't know. I don't live in America, but when you've got the notoriety, you've got you've built a brand in your home country, and you've managed to convince you've managed to use the mainstream media platforms that you appear on, and you've used that to your advantage to convince the general public that Anthony Joshua ducks you. How are these guys, Tyson Fury and Joshua, then coming to the States and getting more backing than you are? A lot of food for thought there. This video was only meant to be about this Bob Arum offer, and I don't even know how long I've been talking for. 20 minutes. I keep doing this. I keep going longer than I want to. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. What do you reckon Deontay Wilder should do next? Should he, if you were Deontay Wilder, how would you try and navigate your career? Would you try and sign a multi-fight deal with ESPN, DAZN? Would you try and stay on Showtime and build that as your home, as your home? Who would you fight next if the Tyson Fury fight doesn't happen? There's a lot of moving pieces at the moment for Deontay Wilder, and this is a pivotal point in his career. For me, it's make or break, to be honest. So it's interesting times. Like I say, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Please like, please share, and most importantly, please can you subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you next time.